Okay, so we're talking about today whether or not you're preparing for fast food as the opponent or a fast dude. So, fast food or fast dude, meaning like Peter D. Manis talks about in his exponential framework, the 6 Ds, one of them is disruption. And if you're going to try to get ready for your peak performance, it's not always just about yourself. It's also usually has to do with a dance partner, so to speak, or an opponent. Whatever way that you want to frame that is fine. It doesn't really matter. It really all just matters as it relates to what fits within your framework. So if your approach is an opponent, that works fine. If your approach is to partner, that's fine too. So what we're talking about is this. There's going to be times in specifically in sports or business where you need to know what you do the best, but you also need to know how you're going to dance with that partner if there's an opponent. So if you're playing, a sport on the other side, like, and this is why I say fast food or fast dude. The fast food, we'll get to that in a second, but we'll start off with the fast dude. If you're preparing to play the New England Patriots, then you have to be prepared to stop Julian Edelman, um, amongst other people. But that's one of the people you're going to have to stop. So, with that being said, you need to know what's the big deal. Like, why do you need to stop him? Like, what does he do? That's number one. What's the big deal? Number two is going to be what's his process look like? You're going to need to study film and see what he does in what situations, what his setup is or their setup is, and how your defense, works with that. And you need to study so that you know that you can see kind of like the symptoms and the structure and the process of how he executes. And if once you know that, then you can understand how you can use your strengths to counterbalance their strengths. And that's where the great opportunity lies. And that's how you disrupt. And that's where there's an exponential opportunity. Now, the third thing is how to do disruption and capitalize on that. And that's a really important thing. It's the habits that you're going to set up that you need to do every day to be prepared. Meaning you're going to have to do film work so that you understand what it looks like. You're going to have to visualize so that you understand what it's going to look like when you disrupt it. You're going to have to, work on some particular skills, and you might have to hand fight a little bit more. You might have to practice different coverage that you're not used to a little bit more. And then you're going to need to change the environment in order to get the outcome you desire versus that person. Meaning, you might have to change the down and distance to force them into situations they're not as comfortable in. You might have to make it look like you're doing one thing when you're really doing another. It's changing the environment or changing the perceived environment. And then on the flip side of this, when I talk about, preparing for fast food, meaning if you're having a problem and the opponent is, you're gaining weight because you're eating poorly, well, you're kind of the opponent. The fast food isn't the opponent, but that's what it looks like is the opponent. So you need to understand that situation, like understand what's the big deal, like why is this happening, like in what situations, what does the process look like, what are the symptoms, what is the environment that's there in order to get you to decide you're going with fast food. And then when you see these situations come up, you're prepared to deal with them, or you prepare in advance so they never come up at all. If you have food prepared and you're taking it with you, you have no need to rush out and go get food. Now, if you even have food and you're still preparing to go out and grab food anyway, then you really just need to figure out what it is that's going on that you're telling yourself. That's an environmental situation. That's, what environment is causing you to feel a particular way. You get awareness of that, and then you can actually figure out how you're going to disrupt that and then capitalize on that by making better decisions in advance. And that's usually through, like I said, habits. What can you do every day to help this situation? And how can you change the environment to help change the outcomes? And that's how you get ready for an opponent or a dance partner, whether it's fast food or the fast dude. And it's not to take away from who you are and what you bring to the table. It's actually meant to enhance it. So it's not that you're focusing on somebody else. You're focusing on how you interconnect, interrelate, and interact with whatever that other big thing is. And so that's a positive thing. It's not a negative thing.